Why are white victims invisible to the left? Why are their suffering less valid? We're gonna be watching Don Lemon meltdown. This isn't even his first meltdown. His credibility has been questioned for years. However, listen to this small clip real quick.
About the white Afrikaners who were allowed into the country and what that means for the black folks and the black farmers, what's going to end up, and the black farmers who've lost so much land over the decades here in the United States because of the racist policies. What does this do? What does this mean? When you see this, what do you think?
Well, Don, this is a slap in the face to America's black farmers right now. Here you have the President of the United States flying in white farmers.
About the white Afrikaners.
Just because they're white. Just because they're white. Look, this is why I tell people I'm not just about black people, I'm about people. Just because we don't share the same skin color does not mean that I shouldn't share the same empathy as I would for my neighbor. But the Democrats, man, they're really showing their true colors right now. Don Lemon, he's completely downplaying what's going on. And somebody wrote that they wrote about Biden in 2023 refugee report at DHS. Most of the refugees were not white. Some top countries for arrivals included Congo, Democratic Republic, Syria, Afghanistan, Burma, Guatemala, Sudan, Somalia, Venezuela, and so on. The refugees from Ukraine total 2.2% of those arrivals. Nobody had a problem with none of that until they were white. Now, before we go into the real meltdown from Don Lemon, where he just completely loses it and rants, I want y'all to see this real quick. Do you know that white people are subject to a different law than black people in South Africa? And for the record, I just want to say, look, man, this is what we're fighting against. I don't support racism by anybody.
So why are white South Africans fleeing to the United States from South Africa? Well, because they live under persecution in each and every single manner. Let's take a look at the education system. In South Africa, if you're a white person and you want to finish high school, you have to pass with a very high pass rate. If you're a black person, however, you are subject to a different law. You only need 30% to pass your high school, and then you get forced into a university, not based on merit, not based on your scores, but based on the color of your skin.
Real DEI-ish.
And then when you, as a black person, finish high school and finish university, you are then favored by having 142 racial laws in your favor that discriminate against white South Africans getting the job and forcing you to get the job as a black person. So in South Africa, the country has fallen apart because the incompetent people running it are now encouraging more incompetent people to run it behind them.
This is all unfortunate. And I had to play this clip before we went into the Don Lemon clip next. Well, actually, I got to play something else because I want to make sure I lay the full layout of it. I want y'all to be able to see just how full of Don Lemon and these Democrats are when they talk about what Donald Trump is doing to help these refugees. Now, I don't know if I can play the audio from here, but I guarantee you by the end of this video, you will hear similar audio to what you're seeing in this video. The caption reads, how come the left-wing media never covers let me start over. How come the left-wing media never covers this racism in South Africa? Quote, shoot to kill the Boer, the farmer. End quote. They had no problem with 20 million illegals flooding into the U.S. on government dollars, but suddenly outraged about a small group of white South African refugees. I mean, man. I'm not for none of this at all. What I'm hearing is they're saying that black people they make up about 90% of the population, but they only own about 4% of everything. I don't have the answers outside of, general principle. And until I get more knowledge on and get educated on what's going on, I don't really want to speak too crazy. Now, last piece of context, because I keep saying that I don't have more context to add, and I'm going to go to the Don Lemon clip. I promise this is the last one. I just looked at it. The next one is Don Lemon. Listen to this. South African leader will not condemn the genocide of white people. All of this is necessary before I play this meltdown, complete meltdown from Don Lemon.
I'm willing to condemn murder, more than willing, but not of white people. I'm not going to play in the hands of white supremacists.
Refugee status is about persecution, not pigmentation. This, first time seeing him, y'all just heard what he said. All right, cool. No more amping up. Now let's listen to this meltdown. And y'all go ahead and figure out why y'all think he's full of shit. Okay? Full of poo-poo. Let's hear it.
This South African farmer bullshit, which is the most blatantly obvious racist shit ever.
Hey, it's not racist. It's actually consistent. Trump's stance has always been about vetting, legitimacy, and national interest.
It is blatantly obvious the way that we treat white South Africans, who are, by the way, for the most part, and I am generalizing here, some of the wealthiest people are well-to-do people in the country.
Well, South African farmers qualify as refugees under the same grounds the left typically supports. Persecution, lack of state protection, violence. So if you support open arms for Syrian refugees, why not for these families?
They speak their language. They own most of the land and the property. And somehow they're being granted a fast track to become Americans while they're trying to cut down on immigration from other countries. You know, you get that from where? From the brown people. On March 7th, Trump took to Truth Social to announce he is offering white South African farmers, quote, a rapid pathway to U.S. citizenship, pointing out that South Africa's new land reform push signed into law last year, which lets the government take land without compensation if the property is not being used and there's no intention to either develop or make money from it. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you some context here. They're not just taking land away from white South African farmers. White South Africans, about 9% of the population, owned 87% of the fertile land. Okay? Today, Black South Africans make up more than 90% of the population, and they only hold about 4% of all privately owned land. So what they're trying to do is say, hey, we need to fix an historical injustice and figure out if you're not using that land to farm, then we need to have some of that land, not taking all of your entire farm. That's not what's happening. And we need to what? There needs to be equity. And now people are crying because the playing field is being leveled. And so therefore it is now discrimination.
Yeah, the left claims they want to fight for oppression in minorities, unless they white. They fighting the very thing that they preach. Is the only point that I'm trying to make. They say believe all victims, open borders, and refugees deserve safety. You know, these illegals, rather. But when it comes to white Christian families being attacked, suddenly they go hot, completely mute or hostile. This exposes the hypocrisy, man, the ideological hypocrisy in this. It's not about compassion. It's about control. It's not about justice. It's about a narrative for these people. It's just sickening, man. Now, this TikToker threatens the immigrants from South Africa and says they're all racist, and Trump brought them here only to be racist. When I tell you, brainwashed at its finest, like, how do you come to this conclusion with literally no proof?
I need y'all to realize what Trump just did. He brought 8,000 white people out here from South Africa.
Wow. How do we go from what, about 49, 59 to, how did you get all the way up to 80,000, bro? I mean, 8,000. Look at me. You got me over here messing up numbers.
Not because they need refuge, not because they need asylum. It's because he knows these 8,000 white South African motherfuckers are racist. He knows they finna come over here and they gonna be blatantly racist thinking that they still in South Africa. But these 8,000 racist motherfuckers is gonna find out the hard way. They gonna fuck around and find out. You can't talk that shit over here on our soil. So what's gonna happen is that these people are gonna start getting their ass whooped because they think it's okay to talk to us any old kind of way like they did out there in South Africa. Then we start lumping motherfuckers up because they don't know how to talk to black people in America. Oh, here comes another executive order. Here comes another executive order to protect white people, just like they do Asians, just like they do the Jewish. Watch what I tell you. All these racist white South Africans that were brought here to America are going to be talking that shit. A lot of them going to get lumped up. Then the news going to spread, oh my God, black people are hurting South Africans. This has to be racist. Executive order. I dare a black person to put their hands on another white person. It'll be considered a hate crime. Just watch. This is exactly what's happening. Remember, he wants chaos. This is how you create chaos.
This man is so full of shit. I can tell, bro, you don't know what the hell going on. Not even slightly. You don't know a damn thing about what's happening around you, bro. I can tell just based off the conversation you just had. My homegirl, Just Jen, wrote, since math is now considered racist, this man thinks 49 equals 8,000. Thanks a lot, progressive left. Y'all done these stupid MFers down even more than they already were. Bro, these Dems, I'm going to let my guy, Corey, Joshua, actually respond to this. His response was brilliant, and I couldn't come up with nothing to top it when I first heard it.
Y'all to realize what Trump just did. He brought 8,000. It's because he knows these 8,000 white South African motherfuckers are racist. He knows they finna come over here and they gonna be blatantly racist thinking that they still in South Africa. But these 8,000 racist motherfuckers gonna find out the hard way. They gonna fuck around and find out. You can't talk that shit over here on our soil.
This is completely false. Trump didn't bring in 8,000 white people from South Africa. He granted refugee status to 59 white South Africans who were fleeing persecution. 59 is nowhere near 8,000. Second, you've never met these people, yet you're calling them racist just based off the color of their skin, which is actually racist. As far as you claiming that these are people who couldn't possibly need refuge, I'd like you to watch this video of the leader of one of the largest political parties in South Africa.
Never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act.
Now watch this video of him at a rally, singing and chanting with tens of thousands of people about taking the lives of white farmers.
Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Brr, pa, pa. Brr, pa, pa.
Now that we've cleared up the misunderstandings, how about we get back to judging people by the content of their character and not the color of their skin? God bless.
We always say never again, but somehow we keep choosing who's allowed to be the victim. If you are a refugee running from a cartel, from cartel violence in Central America, you get an applause. If you're fleeing war in Ukraine, you get support. But if you are a farmer, a white farmer in South Africa, watching your family get tortured, your children, get tortured, your land gets stolen, your loved ones get slaughtered, suddenly you're not opposed. You're privileged. We're reaching a point where skin tone decides who pain we believe, whose blood matters, who cries get heard. This is not compassion. This is not progress. This is evil in disguise. in terms of what these Democrats trying to get away with. And if we stay silent, if we let people like Don Lemon mock real suffering because it doesn't score political points, then we already lost the very soul of what we claim to stand for, y'all. Refugees are human beings too, not political props. What happened to Justice Fall, man? Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life.